Hi, here we are, live from Italy. Our usual date we have, except that Friday, which used to be at midnight, is now, because we're getting towards autumn and winter, we have the Friday session earlier. So I hope some of our good friends will join us. They usually do. But we used to have midnight on a Friday just to allow some of the American and Australian and places on the other side of the world from Italy to join us. But it got pretty late for me. And so I decided, since we're getting towards autumn and winter, we'll start at 9 o'clock. And that way, you can watch it back if you're not available when we do the live. You can watch it back. So I'll just wait until we're exactly at 9 o'clock before I do the introduction. But just to say that whilst it's getting cooler here in Italy, it's still pretty hot. And so I have the last of the summer dresses. This is one of the lovely Jenny dresses I got years and years ago, about 20 years ago, and love it. And usually only wear it in summer, but I guess we're still in summer. So I'm super excited tonight. As you know, I've been covering live from Milan during Design Week these amazing Italian houses, and we have so many, from Armani to Versace to Blue Marine. We're going to do a lot of them. I did ETEREA, and I will hook up ETEREA above there, and you can go and have a look at the ETEREA edition. We did Trussardi, and we're going to talk about all of that. But if you're new here, please subscribe, because I'd love to have you join us twice a week on a Wednesday and a Friday. I join you live from Milan, and we talk about all the amazing things happening in the world of design, in the world of Italy, and especially in the world of fragrance, because that's my passion and that's what I love to talk about, and specifically vintage perfume. So soon enough, somebody's joined us. Hi. And so we're going to start. So if you're new here, my name's Amanda. This is coming to you live from Italy. Tonight we have a real treat. We're going to talk about another Italian company, the brainchild of a wonderful couple, started. Hi, our dear friend Rand is joining us from the States. Hi, lovely. When you come in, please like the video and just put your name in the box so I can greet you and say hi. So this is coming to you live from Milan, as I said, and tonight we're covering an amazing company, GENNY. So I'm going to tell you about this amazing company. I've already mentioned that we've done the ETEREA collection live from Milan during Design Week. And there are so many amazing Italian companies. Gosh, I could, there's 10 that just come off my hands immediately. But we've done ETEREA, and we've done Trussardi, and we've done Versace, and we're going to do Armani. Maybe I'll tell you at the end about that. There's a new section, if you're new here, called Ask Amanda, and you can go and follow me on Instagram. I'm the same, Italy Vintage Perfume on Instagram, and send me a message with your question. It can be any question, and I've chosen the question for tonight, and that'll be at the end, and I will answer it. As long as it's a reasonable question that can be answered, of course. Okay, lovely. So let's get right into GENNY. So GENNY with a G rather than a J. Okay, an amazing company. It was started in 1962, in the roaring 60s. Isn't that amazing? Started, like many Italian companies, as a family business. And the GENNY brand was launched in 1962 by Arnaldo and Donatella Girombelli. And GENNY was the name of their daughter, Jenny with a J. And so they named the company out of GENNY after their daughter. or perhaps they named the company and the daughter together. But anyway, it bears the name of their precious daughter. The collection, they started the studio. The collection soon gained acclaim. I've got my notes as usual, and popularity among women, claiming its place among the top names in Italian fashion. And my goodness, we've been among them this week. Also on account of the stylistic contribution of famous designers such as, wait for it, who did we cover last week? Randy's going to tell us who we covered on Wednesday. Versace. So yes. So the contribution of famous designers who worked for GENNY, such as Gianni Versace, who became the creative director at GENNY in 1973. I didn't know that before. I knew a lot about GENNY, but I didn't know that. Isn't that amazing? So Gianni Versace himself worked for GENNY as their creative director in 1973. This is obviously before Versace became what it is today. The brand has belonged to an international group in Verona since 2011 when they bought it. And it's chosen a new direction for GENNY's original style, focusing on the aesthetics and beautiful fabrics, flowing lines, and a more feminine mood. So the dresses are stunning. And after this, I know you're going to go on Instagram because I've been putting up some of the perfumes on Instagram. This is live, so I can't put inserts in. And some of the fashions, and you can go look up GENNY Official. I've linked it all up on Instagram, and go and look at some of the beautiful fashions and the amazing perfumes. Anyway, GENNY have been responsible for my love of Italian vintage, and you're going to see them tonight. They're stunning. Okay. It makes for collections that combine classic elements with the modern textures. The interplay of prints and transparency resulting in pret-a-porter line. Okay. The transformation, this modern transformation, was made possible by Sara Cavazza Faccini, artistic director of the house since 2013. So Sara took over in 2013, a role that Gianni Versace had in GENNY. This transformation was a big one because they wanted to take it in a modern direction and still keep the timeless elegance. Okay, and they also had to focus on sustainability and going with the connections in terms of what the younger crowd wanted. And so there's also GENNY to think about the teenage line, but it's generally a more elegant and the working girl. Okay, specialized press, fashion bloggers, and customers welcomed the new direction of GENNY with renewed enthusiasm, and Sara added her lovely energy to GENNY. Her story is the product of various cultures. She's traveled around the world. She started the pret-a-porter brand for GENNY to help it take it in a new direction. So in 2013, she was appointed visionary director, full of energy, and you can go and have a look at the beautiful dresses and the history of GENNY. This same dynamic couple, the Giambellis, started another company that you've probably heard of. They started 3 companies in the roaring 60s and 70s. Some of us were alive then. I think I might have been. Byblos, who you probably have heard of in the Italian frame, who made fragrance too. But Byblos were a beautiful house that many of the top models wore. And Byblos, they started, the same couple, the Giambellis, started in 1973, about the time when Gianni Versace was working with them. And then there was another company that I remember, and it was called Complice. And Complice was started in 1975. So in between 62, 75, they started this dynamic duo, started these companies with the leading lights who were yet to be discovered, like Gianni Versace and everyone in the fashion world. And they're still around, like many Italian companies. They've segued from the 60s into the 2020s, and they're still going strong and making beautiful perfumes. And we're here to talk about the perfumes. Okay. So before I get started with perfume notes, and you know I always bring notes, I've always got notes, great. I'm so pleased to have our dear supporter, Randy. Okay, I'm going to go through some of the vintage perfumes. You know I always mention it, that I love Italian vintage. This is all Italian vintage, and most of these were made in the same era that we're talking about tonight, when Jenny was starting and up and coming. And they've gone all the way to 2018. They released new perfumes under the new line, but we're going to start right at the beginning. So these are some of them. These are more Italian fragrances, and these are some of them we're going to cover tonight. So let's start right at the beginning. Before we start, please like the video, please subscribe. If you're just joining or you're new, let us have your name so I can greet you. And let's get on with this amazing Jenny edition live here from Italy in Milan. I'm Amanda. Right, number one was a perfume that, when it was originally made, was in a different bottle, of course, because it was right in the early 70s. And it is today in this black box with the Jenny. You'll get used to the Jenny signature. And this was simply called Noir, Genny Noir. It's eau de parfum. And originally it came in a little triangular bottle. And those that talk about this original fragrance wax lyrical about it. It is my passion, talking about vintage fragrances before they were reformulated. And some of them, most of them, were amazing masterpieces. This is no exception. So this original Jenny perfume, Genny Noir, was made by none other than the leading light of that time, Jean-Claude Deville. Still amazing, from Firmenich. Firmenich is a huge perfume house who makes some of the top perfumes in the world that we all know about. And it was very expensive to make. It was made in 1987, the roaring 80s, and has been discontinued since the 90s. And this is the reformulation in this rather beautiful bottle that has a flat edge and says Jenny on it. It's still amazing, even though people will tell you that original bottle, if you can get one on the internet, I've ordered a little one. So the old vintage editions said on them, Rivara Honobob and Diana da Silva. Diana da Silva was the leading light at that time, and she had a lot to do with Italian fragrance. So the triangular bottles with the black lid were the originals. This is still beautiful. I adore it. But I do want to get my hands on that original. I think it's pretty similar. I've been told by those who really know that it hasn't changed a lot. So let's talk about this fragrance that people were raving about and people still wax lyrical about. So the notes haven't changed. They are the same, apart from some of the ingredients that are not allowed to be in perfumes anymore, like real ambergris, which probably was used then and is now synthetic ambergris. So it has rose, jasmine, ylang-ylang, so gorgeous, iris, marigold, petitgrain. This was the original recipe. Petitgrain, cardamom, all the things I adore in a fragrance. Patchouli, oak moss, musk, coriander, chamomile, geranium. That original recipe has been lost, and it's probably locked away in somebody's safe. But I think this, which was remade in the 80s again, is excellent. And I have backup copies, and I'm going to spray it on me now because I've just been waiting all day for this. I've got it dry down on paper, but oh my goodness, I'd much rather have this. The dry down, oh my goodness, goodness. This is a perfume for a woman who knows what she's doing, probably the boss of the company, a woman who's feminine but knows where she's going, knows what she wants, possibly the leader of the company. It's not screaming, it's not in your face. Oh, hi. The notes, wait. Oh, Randy, I wish I could stick this right under your nose. It's so beautiful. Oh, my goodness. Anyway, what can I say about this perfume? This perfume is for a woman. I'll go to the modern notes of this reformulation. It was made for Donatella Girombelli, the woman behind these three companies, GENNY, Biblos, and Complice, a woman who knew her stuff, a real feminine, but a leading woman. She was a feminist, not in the way that we talk about feminists now, which are the, Me Too generation. I don't want to get into that. I'm not going to discuss it. But anyway, this is what she was. It has shades of Golan Mitsuko. It's just so Gianfranco Ferre was around in those times. He was also young and undiscovered, just like Versace was. And he was around. Gianfranco Ferre had a lot to do with this. GENNY NOIR. It's a chypre. It's got rose. Okay, this is the new recipe. I don't know what's been left out from that vintage, but it's still exquisite. Or whether it's exactly the same. For all I know, it could be exactly the same recipe. I'm taking it that it is. Okay, so it's got rose, osmanthus, iris, jasmine, ylang-ylang, oak moss, patchouli, labdanum, ambergris. So not much has changed. And 87. Okay. Oh, my goodness gracious me. Let's make some comparisons so I can help you understand. So before you all start shouting and throwing your hands in the air when I mention two letters, AE. So it has shades of Aromatique Elixir from Clinique, which has been the huge seller for Clinique for, 40 years. It sells a lot for a reason. It may be too strong, you may say that, but this for me is a gentler version, as beautiful as Aromatique. The dry down is as beautiful. It just doesn't have maybe as much sillage, and maybe this is office safe. You could wear this to an office. Whereas Aromatic Exceller in some offices, look, I wore it to the office, the old formulation, and men regularly came into my office and said, "What are you wearing?" Because I have to buy it immediately for my girlfriend. And I would say, hold on. It doesn't suit everyone. Just calm down. No, I have to have it. And then they would just come back and back. And then I thought, some people started to say, "Oh, that's your signature." I remember I left my watch behind at a party once, and it was a beautiful old vintage watch with a leather strap. And I just left it there. And I got a phone call that morning from the owner of this beautiful mansion where this party, and he said, "I knew whose watch it was immediately because it smelled of you. And I noticed you on the night because of your perfume." And as soon as I picked up the watch, my wife said, "Whose watch is this?" And I said, "It's Amanda's." So there we are. It became my signature. I think that this is completely wearable to the office on a date. Where don't you want to wear this? Because this will get you noticed. You will get super compliments. I've got compliments all my life from Aromatique, which I still have. I showed you in the last video my box that I always buy for Christmas. But this 87 Beauty that has the hands of Gianfranco Ferre all over it. Versace, who was working for GENNY at the time as the artistic director, and Jean-Claude Deville of Fuminich, the most noted perfumer ever, maybe, and of course made for Donatella Girombelli, the doyen of these three companies, GENNY, Biblos, and Complice. From 62 to 75, they opened all these companies and they made beautiful clothes and beautiful perfume. And I am so thrilled I found this. I found this right in the beginning of my Italian vintage collecting, and it is still stunning. Comes in that box. I'm going to link all the perfumes down in the description if you click the downward facing arrow, so you'll find them. And back it goes in its box. Oh my goodness, the dry down on this, I can't even tell you. Oh, and this will last. This will last until tomorrow morning. Oh, it's so beautiful. The patch comes through the patchouli, but in such a beautifully, it's made by experts. It doesn't get any better than that. It doesn't get any more beautiful than that. And it's so affordable. Right, moving on. I'm getting overexcited. Breathe. Water. Hi, NW. Right. Guys, if I could only tell you one of the questions in Ask Amanda, please send me your questions in Ask Amanda on Instagram and I'll attempt to answer them. I'll draw one each week. If I could only tell you what these vintage perfumes have taught me. And I was incredibly blessed living as I do in Milan, following these designers who, you know, you trip over in Milan when you go to design week and whatever, that it influenced me into this era of amazing perfumes. When there wasn't 500 noses, there were 2 or 3 or 4 in each country, and they all collaborated, and a lot of the leading lights all working together before they founded Armani, before they founded Versace. And so it was with this perfume I've just covered. And then the second one I'm going to cover comes in this box. So I started with these perfumes, and I've probably mentioned before, and I'm going to mention it again in case you think I'm on eBay all day searching this stuff out and paying a fortune for it. No, I was incredibly lucky to find a guy who has an old pharmacy who stocks all the top perfumes in the world in Milan, and he has his little vintage corner, and I've raided it because slowly but surely, as I do my research and I found out what I desperately would love to have, I write to him. I used to go on his online shop, which is a bit of a mess. And I used to say, do you have this? And he'd say, oh, I'll look and I'll come back to you. And now I just send him an email and I say, I want this, I want this, I want this. And that's what I'm going to pay for it. And it's generally about 20, 25 bucks because nobody knows about them. But today I discovered something that I had bought GENNY Caress, which if you looked on my, there's always this incredible light, which we need, but is not the best thing. Oh, there we are. GENNY Caress. So I posted this on YouTube, on Instagram today, where I post most of my perfume photos because I can't do it while I'm live. And yeah, so you can go and find it. And I found out today because I thought, you know what? I smelled this today when I was doing my notes. Oh my giddy aunt, it is so beautiful. Oh my goodness gracious. I sprayed it on my hand. It's still there. My goodness, this is the most beautiful thing about it. There's all kinds of teenagers playing in the piazza out here. And I've opened the window because it's quite warm. You might be hearing that. So perhaps I should just, close that window. So we don't have to hear the whole teenage romance. Unless you really want to hear Romeo and Juliet meeting in the piazza outside my window. Maybe it'll be a nice background music. So anyway, getting back to GENNY Caress. Jenny. This perfume, I had just this little bottle. It's a 50 ml. Yes, it's a 50 ml. Comes in that box. Sort of pinky, stripy GENNY Caress. This one, moving on to GENNY Caress, I just had this 50 ml, and it was part of that original group that I bought just to test out these GENNY fragrances that are so renowned in the Italian inner circle. And my goodness, made in 2003, so early millennium. And I went online to see, okay, I think I paid €18 for this. From my little man at the pharmacy who had one, only a 50 ml. And it always comes in these beautiful cylindric bottles I love them. Anyway, I went today on just searching, just for interest's sake, to see if I could find it on eBay or on Amazon, where I find perfumes. And this, in the bottle, in the box, was €240. And I'd heard on Profumo, which I prefer to Fragrantica, because sometimes Fragrantina get the notes wrong, that it's nearly impossible to find, and those that love it know it will do anything to get it. But I didn't pay any notice until today I discovered that he has the last one, my little pharmacy guy, of GENNY Caress, and he's going to give it to me for €18. So I ordered it immediately before somebody else bought it. And that's my backup bottle. Let me tell you about this perfume. It is amazing. I know I've already waxed lyrical about GENNY Noir. Well, GENNY Caress is even as beautiful. Okay, completely different from the one before. Let me tell you the notes. Has Amalfi lemon on the top, green notes, sea notes, which are generally not up my alley, but they are here. They're exquisite. Sea notes, patchouli, of course, vetiver, musk on the bottom, some vanilla, and the rose. This golden thread that runs through all these beautifully crafted fragrances of GENNY in the 80s and early and 90s and early 2000s is that the rose and the floral notes are blended beautifully. There's no rose shouting. There's no oud. There's no oud. But they are stunning, absolutely stunning. And I don't agree with Luca Turin, who says, why should a woman smell of flowers? I think a woman should smell of flowers. I want to smell of flowers. I don't know what you want to smell like, but I want to smell of flowers. I can't think of what I want to smell more like. I can take a little bit of vanilla, but I don't want vanilla 24 hours a day. Little bit of musk, little bit of amber. So the similarities, do you want me to give you those? I'm just going with this. Of course you want me to give you what it's compared to. Don't you, Randy? And we've got someone else who's joined us. Let us have your name. Okay, so the similarities to GENNY Caress, which I posted on Instagram if you want to go and have a look, and you'll probably have to watch this back. It's similar to Jana G, also called, surprisingly, Chypre Caress. So Caress was the name. Maybe Caress has fallen out of favor. We're not so obvious in our names anymore. It's like Chanel, Mademoiselle, Coco Mademoiselle. The first thing I get when I put this on my hand or here on the dry down is that it has that Chanel stamp. This could have been made by the top perfume in Chanel. It is exquisite. It is feminine. It is beautiful. The notes are beautifully blended. And that's probably why you can't find it anywhere. And I just got lucky when I was going in my vintage hunt with my darling man in Milan. And I found it by accident. And I'm not sure that I raved about it. I loved it and I wrote about it. And then I sort of snuck them all away and got it out today. My goodness. And I found the backup bottle. So that is beautiful. If you like Coco Mademoiselle, and it's so gorgeous. So gorgeous. What can I say about it? GENNY Caress. So that's that one. And moving on. So then we're moving on to another one that I bought for summertime because those in the know who love GENNY fragrances said to me, since you've got GENNY Noir and you found GENNY Caress, you have to get Eau de GENNY. Eau de GENNY, yes. What's in the cylinder bottle? because it's summer in a bottle. And these three fragrances all have the same DNA of beauty and wonderfully blended, and you can feel the master touch on them. They were made by masters, but they're all completely unique, and that's what I love about them. This is summer in a bottle. It has some white flowers, but it's not overly white flowered. It's just absolutely amazing. The nose is Maurizio Cerizia. So gorgeous. Here's another thing that runs this golden thread through these fragrances. Rose, beautifully blended nose, not out of balance, not screaming, not old lady. Lily of the Valley. But it doesn't shout. Once again, it's blended beautifully. So it has C notes. Let me tell you what it's got. Okay. Let me do this properly. Top notes, C notes, Lily of the Valley, rose, honeysuckle. Love a bit of honeysuckle. Turkish rose, vanilla, sandalwood. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I don't know what more I can say. So there we are. Again, super affordable. This one you can find online. Probably, I don't know, under $30. It's worth every tiny little coin that you spend on it. And I thoroughly recommend you try them. They have the vintage stamp on them, but modern and fresh and exciting. So they're gorgeous. Okay. And then we're moving on again, and we're moving on to GENNY White. Now, I covered this in my white edition. Up there, I don't know if you can see it, probably, is my white box on the top right, or your, I don't know, there. So I did a white edition with all white fragrances, white flowers, summer. It was called the white edition. I'll look it up. Go and watch it back. And GENNY was in that white edition because it's a gorgeous, look at the beautiful box with the lovely white and silver. So this is Eau de Parfum again. In the gorgeous cylinder. You can see the dent I've made in this. I mean, I've had it one summer and I've made a huge dent in it already. 100 mils, comes in this gorgeous cylinder again. Oh my goodness gracious. When I'm visiting these again, and I can't even tell you how excited I am by them. They are so beautiful. I mean, you're just going to have to take my word for it, because I can't. I wish we had sniffogram on live videos. One day they'll invent it, I'm sure. Absolutely beautiful. GENNY. It's just called GENNY. This is the white version. So what does this have in it? Again, nose Maurizio Cerizia. Oh. So the white. On the top has red berries and bergamot. You need bergamot, of course. Has iris, jasmine. So gorgeous. White florals, but not in your face, not mountains of tuberose. It probably has a tiny touch of tuberose, but it's just beautifully fresh. These fragrances smell like you would pay €400 for them, and they were made by the top noses of the moment. Hi, darling. Francis is with us. You'll have to watch it back, sweetheart, because I can't tell you how excited I am by these beautiful fragrances. Honestly, if you told me, if you lined these up blind for me and you told me what I was smelling, I would say this is one of the top Chanels. This is, oh my goodness gracious me. And so it is that I've discovered that the top noses in the world were all collaborating in the late 87s in Milan, and companies like Firmenich, who make some of our best perfumes, those noses like DeVille had their hands all over these when they were being made. And it's no surprise, I can smell it. Honestly, if you line these up blind and I couldn't see what I was smelling, I would say that these are the top perfume houses in the world, and you should pay €400 for them. But they are affordable, and they're vintage and they're gorgeous. And okay, so let's fast forward to what Jenny's doing now. So I mentioned earlier that they had an art director, Sarah, who joined the company in 2013. She took over Gianni Versace's job. Yes, believe it or not, Jenny had as their art director in the beginning none other than Gianni Versace before he founded Versace with his brother and his sister. I covered Versace last time. Go and watch that video if you haven't already. I'll hook it up at the top. And they founded companies like Byblos in 1973 and Complis in 1975, and the beautiful Jenny, which is still going strong. But Sarah took over the brand in 2013 as art director, and she's led it into the future, and it's young and fresh, and their fashions are beautiful. Go and look on Instagram and you'll see. I've covered the history. You'll have to watch it back. As I always do when I talk about Italian companies, I'm really enjoying it, and I hope you're enjoying the history. And so, yeah, so she's brought it into the future, and there are 2 current perfumes which you can find on their site. These I've covered are their starting point from the 80s forward. And then in 2014, ETEREA was born. The perfume that you saw on Instagram that I posted, that beautiful bottle, and that was to take it in the new direction. She joined in 13. Yes, I couldn't agree with you more, Francis. So this was the start of my obsession with Italian vintage fragrances, was that I discovered houses like GENNY and Sergio Soldano. Where's Sergio Soldano, my dear friend? And I discovered the quality. Look at this bottle. The quality and what was going on in Milan in the 80s. It was the era that was so incredible. Anyway, so taking it in the new direction for today's crowd. So ETEREA 2014. Also, the nose was Maurizio Cerizio. Let me tell you the notes. It has rose, the beautiful rose that runs through all of these perfumes. Iris. It has peony, a touch of peony, which is lovely. It is fresh, gorgeous. Let me tell you, and it has green tea. Those of you who like tea in a fragrance, I'm not crazy about green tea, but this is so beautifully blended. Let me tell you what it's similar to, because that's always a good starting point for those of you who don't know anything about GENNY as a fragrance house. Let me tell you the comparative of this fragrance, ETEREA. So it's like, are you listening, Perfume Nest? My friend Chris struggled to find a rose perfume that I suggested for her, an Oriental, in my Oriental edition, Madina. So I know Chris was looking for Madina, and this has been compared, this ETEREA, to Madina. So there you could maybe see if you can find it. It's also been compared to Montal Rose's Musk. So if you love Montal and you don't want to spend the bucks, you can get this. You can get it off the GENNY site. Go on the GENNY site, and they have this and the Platinum, which was the most recent in 2018. So ETEREA has this lovely green tea, the rose, absolutely beautiful. Like all GENNY fragrances, you just can't beat them. They're absolutely stunning. And then we move to the most recent Platinum. As I mentioned, it's available on the GENNY site. You can go and look on Instagram and click on official GENNY. I've linked it up in all my posts. So it starts with, this is 2018 Platinum, bergamot on the top, violet, rose, iris, lily of the valley, a little bit of powder, absolutely beautiful. And it has this beautiful amber, lovely finish. Absolutely stunning, absolutely stunning. Okay. And comparable to some of the most gorgeous perfumes. You can go and have your little research on Fragrantica or wherever you like to go to. It's just the most beautiful collection of perfumes. And as I mentioned, some of the noses that have worked on this right from the beginning in 87 was Jean-Claude Deville from Firmenich, and it has similarity to some of the classics. So there. So I wanted to keep this edition a little bit short because we have the Ask Amanda edition. And I don't know if you guys have sent me a question yet, have you? You should have. I think you should have. So the format is this. Ask Amanda. You can ask me anything you want. People want to know. People want to know stuff from me. So it used to be that they would send me a long message on Instagram and then I had to answer it all. So I thought it'd be much better if I could just answer it here. So last week, the question was my desert island fragrance. If you didn't watch last week, it was Versace. You need to go and watch it. I'll hook it up here because there's a little golden thread between these two editions. Gianni Versace was artistic director of Genny in the early days. And so tonight's question. Right. So this was sent to me by Sandra 43. I don't know why people always put numbers at the end of the name. I guess maybe that's your birthday, but 43, yeah, maybe it was. I don't know, Sandra 43 sent me this question, and it's a very valid question, and I've been asked this more than once. Her question was, I know you love vintage perfumes. How do you ensure when you buy a vintage perfume that it hasn't spoiled, that sitting in the bottle for 20, 30, I don't know, 40 years doesn't spoil that perfume? And how do you know when you buy it that you're not just going to get a bunch of notes that have just gone sour? This is a valid question. It's a great question. And I'm sure you guys have wondered before, haven't you? Haven't you? Come on, be honest. So because vintage perfume was my entry into perfume world, and because I, right from the beginning, while I was collecting roses, tried to find vintage ones that everyone was speaking about, but I had a budget, and I still have a budget. And if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I don't go above, I have my price. Yeah, that's it. And I'm very careful about that. I make a budget every month and I stick to it. And you can't believe the beauties I've bought. It's incredible. And that's why I love vintage, because if you know what you're doing, and you can make a couple of mistakes, and nobody's perfect, of course. You only learn. I always say, if you're not making mistakes, you're not learning. So I learned, but I have to say, in all my blind buys, and they're all, I haven't got time to ask someone for a decant of a vintage. They don't open the bottle, all of that. They were closed bottles in the box, cellophane, the whole story, most of them anyway. Out of all of the ones I've got over the last year, I've had one or two that I thought, maybe past its prime, but I've got absolute beauty. So yes, this is what you should look for. Number one, don't go on eBay and be pressured by somebody saying, oh, this is the last bottle, extremely rare. It always says extremely rare. And don't climb on the bandwagon. I just spoke tonight about Genny Caress, which when I bought it from my little man in my magic pharmacy, and he went scratching in the back for me, I think I paid €20 for it. I absolutely realize that this is a diamond. It has Chanel. It's in this bottle, but it's like absolute a beautiful Chanel, an exclusive Chanel. And then today I went and did all my research and found out that you can't get it. It's like hen's teeth. And I've got a backup bottle coming from my same little guy who gave it to me for €17. And this is on eBay, the bottle, the vintage bottle, for €240. So I didn't do that. Maybe somebody's got the money can go do that. I can't. But how do you ensure that you're not buying rubbish? Have your budget. And if you make one or two mistakes, and it's possible, you can't find a diamond if you don't go and prospect for diamonds, you've got to turn over a lot of rocks to find a diamond. You know that. And it's the same with gold panning. Randy sounds like someone who maybe is panned for gold. I don't know why. He lives in California. No, he doesn't. I'm talking nonsense. If you're panning for gold, you've got to sift through all these rocks. And have you ever watched these panning for gold, the pioneers? You've got to sift through a lot of gravel and have a lot of water washed through to find one tiny nugget of gold. So yeah, you have to be cautious. You have to set your budget. You have to be realistic. And then you've just got to enjoy it for what it is. It's a beauty. It was made when aldehydes were around. This is like a fruit basket, but I adore it. I absolutely adore it. This Sergio Soldano, another one that I absolutely adore, made in Milan, same time as Jenny was around. Sergio Soldano, he was known for his fashions and his beautiful creations. A joy, absolute joy. Paid $22 for it. So the answer to your question, Sandra, 43, is have your budget, do your research, have fun, have fun. I cannot recommend enough that you go and do a little bit of research and a little bit of fun. I love vintage Galan. Oh, Randy, you're speaking my language. I don't have the purse for vintage Galan, although I'm lucky to go to Milan, as you saw in my previous videos. Go and watch them for Design Week. But this has been compared, this beautiful GENNY NOIR, to Galan with Zuku. So it has that stamp on it. So anyway, I hope I've excited you with these GENNY fragrances. I've done the Ask Amanda. You guys go on. Come on, you guys. Go and give me a question. Anything. I'll answer it. Anyway, hasn't this been lovely Friday night with you guys? I'm actually getting quite chilled because I've kept open the window here, so I might have to put my little jacket on. It's been lovely being with you guys. And remember that every Wednesday and Friday, we used to have midnight on Friday, but we brought it forward. So it's 9 o'clock Italy time on either night. And I hope to goodness, this is my little 80s jacket from Milan, nogal. And I hope you guys will join again. I love hearing your guys' opinion, and I'd love to hear from you guys. Maybe leave me a message when you watch it back and see the history of this lovely fashion house, what you thought of it, and that you'll try some of these fragrances. I wish you luck finding them, but certainly apart from the GENNY Caress, they're all available. Start with the GENNY NOIR. It's exquisite. It's too exquisite for words. So there we are. Love having you guys. Love sharing my passion for perfumes. So from Milan, here in Italy, I'm saying good night. And thank you, my live audience. You make it so much fun. And don't forget to go back and leave me a comment of what you thought, what you liked when you've watched it back. Thanks, you guys. Saying goodbye from Italy. Bye. See you soon. Thanks, guys. Thanks so much. Thanks for joining me. Bye. See you again. See you on Wednesday. Wednesday's Armani edition. Yeah. Bye. Bye.